Hello, my name is Andrew Thake, and I'm a Divisional Director with Resourcing Tomorrow. Delighted to be joined today by Dr. Comfort Asokoro-Ogaji, who's the Chair of Women in Mining Africa. Delighted to have you with us today, Dr. Comfort.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's my pleasure to be
here. Comfort, what are the most significant barriers that women still face in the mining industry today, and how are organisations such as Women in Mining Africa working to address those?
Thank you, Andrew. The biggest barrier that we face, most especially in the African context, is unsafe work sites and camp cultures. This is really a serious challenge, and we are working at WIM Africa to curtail the impact of this, both at the industry, organized industry scale level, and also artisanal mining scale level. We also have the camp cultures and also the biased hiring at the organized industry levels. And the promotion pipelines up till now in Africa is not gender friendly yet. And then shift flexibility related to limited childcare policies across the industry is still an issue. And then you look at the PPEs that are not designed for women. This is a critical challenge that we are facing. And then talking about the artisanal women miners, we have poor pathways from artisanal to formal value chains. And the WIM Africa is working tirelessly to fix or tackle this problem. We have a 7-point program agenda that we are rolling out, actually to be launched on the 25th of September, this September, a few days' time. So in the office here, we are high level preparing and looking at connecting all stakeholders continental-wide to see how ESG, safety, legal support, market linkages, most especially for our women in the ASM sector. And also we are tackling that through the next generation. Next gen is a familiar word all over, but the next generation Women in Mining Africa initiative that we are working on. And another thing is the host community safety. This is critical in the African context. So I work also, apart from WIM Africa, with a few Western companies, and this has been the issue I drum into every meetings, that we have to have host community safety compacts with local leaders and operators that will drive the safety measures that we seek on site and also on artisanal mining sites. So we are also tackling this through procurement advocacy. We are working with the women in mining business in South Africa, for instance, to lift women-led suppliers into mine supply chains. So we want to see how to build capacity of this company leaders, the entrepreneurs, to be able to be competent enough to follow the rules and the standards of the industry and be able to be recommendable suppliers for the industry. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that answer. You mentioned NextGen there. What trends are you seeing among younger women entering the mining sector, and how can the industry better support their ambitions?
Yeah, so the trend is very straightforward, as we know. The young women now are tech sensitive. Yeah, they want to know what is going on. They are eager to participate in the global tech movement, and then so that drives what they are looking at, and they want to see gender outcomes that is related to leadership, that mining industries are driving leadership at the boardrooms, and that could be encouraging for them to say, oh yes, this male-dominated sector can also be a sector that we can thrive. We can see a future in it. So I think that's the take. Yeah.
And how can mining companies move beyond mere compliance and actively build inclusive cultures that support and retain women at all stages of their career?
Yeah, I think that mining companies can tie executive KPIs, that is key performance indicators, to bonuses, and to gender outcomes, the hiring, the promotions, the retention, then the safety. So if the companies can measure the improvement in this key areas through the KPIs, then we should be talking about some progress. And then if I'm to emphasize on safety, women in mining all over the world require gender fit PPEs. And we have been drumming this. Progress has been made though, but there's still need for some massive actions in that regard. And also, apart from the PPEs, we want the female supervisors on every shift, for industries, not just the male, but if we are beginning to see the female supervisors working with the female staff at every level, this will be a big win. And then we want to see also a mining industry that is funding on-site childcare, for women, and flexible rostering for parents and caregivers who are working on those specific sites. Also, many companies, most especially operating in Africa, can set some inclusive progress procurement targets. Let's say 10 to 20% procurement targets to include women-led firms in host communities and have a transparent reporting structure to see that, yes, these are measurable and the progress is being seen from year this to 2 years, 3 years, that yes, women are beginning to participate, most especially host community entrepreneurs who are capable of being part of the supply chain of the mining industry. Yeah.
Of course, Africa is just so important when it comes to critical minerals.
Yeah.
How do you think the African mineral industry as a whole is adapting to meet global demand for critical minerals amid rising geopolitical and supply chain tensions?
Yeah, I think that operations are diversifying offtake. Yeah. And again, in the beneficiation in Africa, and they're hardening logistics as well. So but generally, the competitive edge now is trust, So community stability, when there is no trust, you have that instability that could disrupt almost everything. And then predictable permits, the geopolitical sphere of the industry. And then gender smart operations. So mines that co-invest in host community infrastructure and skills face fewer disruptions, and with premium partnerships with most especially the local community. So if you operate in Africa, your most strategic partners are the host communities. They are your workforce, as a matter of fact. They are your supply base, and they are also your security buffer, and they are apparently, in the long run, they are your legacy. So I always say, to avoid disruptions and to win in every investment in Africa, you must have the host community as a key and strategic partner to make things work.
I always like asking this question to speakers at Resourcing Tomorrow because we get a variety of fascinating answers. What's the most influential book you've read and why?
Thank you very much. I grew up in a certain way that efficiency was an issue. So people do things in a certain way, and maybe time management is generally leadership is lagging behind. So I took it on me to learn a lot about leadership and effectively managing people. And today it's paying off. That's the book I give out as a gift, most especially The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, by Stephen Covey. So it's a book I used to train. It's a book I used to inspire myself. And it's a book I give out because I'm now in a position where I work with diverse women from different African diverse cultures, and we have different mindsets, we have different attitude to work, we have different response psychology to leadership. So that book gives me that leverage to understand people, to understand how to approach them, and the time management and everything else that has to do with effective leadership. So to me, that's a go-to book anytime, and I reference material when speaking with my colleagues and other leaders across the continent.
And one last question, which again, I always love asking our speakers. What advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the mining industry, and what advice should they ignore?
Well, let me start from the advice they should ignore. First and foremost, the mining industry is not for men. Yeah, in Nigeria, I did a survey with specific communities where mining is predominant and some states where the mineral resources is really in commercial quantity based on studies. And most of them, women, would say no. When I was given the course geology to study, my dad had told me that course is for men. So I didn't have a choice. I just had to go into it because the school wouldn't give me an admission if I don't take it. So, but I'm stuck here. So that change in mindset is very critical. And I always, whenever I have the chance, tell them, do not take that advice that geology is for men, that mining engineering is for men. You have a role to play, and it's so diverse. So you can come in and play a role in one way or the other. And then talking about the advice that I should be giving them, or we should all be advising them, is to get site experience early. So that's why at WIM Africa, we designed the NextGen program to connect industry with these female students studying mining related courses in different universities across Africa. Right now, we are talking with about 157 universities across the continent, local universities, and we are doing some form of exchange and encouraging them to say, oh, this is women in mining, and we want you to give a special focus to these young girls because of X, Y, Z. And then we co-design programs together with the universities, a template, yeah, that we share across and say, okay, let's have this career activity in your university. And the idea have been so much welcomed among the leadership across the universities that we are working on. So that is it. We have to give them the chance to get early experience. Even a short plant rotation beats a semester of theory. Yeah, so we build data skills, we impute safety awareness early, and then we ensure that there is that they ignore advice that says you must wait for your turn, or you cannot be in this geology field because you are a woman, and an African woman for that matter. And then if you are up north in maybe some certain religions will not also encourage a woman to be in that sector as a matter of religious beliefs. So we try to work with also religious leaders to have some kind of change of orientation to see that, yes, a woman can thrive in the sector as well. So, and these are brilliant young ladies, you know, having first class in year 2 and year 3. So I see potentials in them, but that cultural and sometimes religious barriers still is an issue that we're at WIM Africa. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Comfort, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and we look forward to seeing you at Resourcing tomorrow. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and my regards to your team. You're doing a great job.